If you've been keeping up with the channel, you know that every year for the gathering, I've been bringing you some type of Morrigan piece. Whether that be a quarter scale statue or a small scale statue, Kotobukiya, Bishoju, whatever the case may be. Well, this year is no different, as today in the house we have PCS's 1/3 scale Morrigan. So let's hit the lights and get this review going. So if you saw my unboxing video, you will see how difficult putting this base together was. If you do get this statue, I would highly advise you put the entire base together first. These smoke effects were executed very well, but not perfect. When you put them together or interlock them together, they have obvious seam lines. But if you look at the statue straight ahead as it was meant to be, you don't even notice those seam lines. They're mostly out here in the back and on the sides. A quick comparison to this statue to Prime 1 statues is this base, like Prime 1, has a lot of freaking gray. So to me, that was a miss for this statue, especially because we see it's kind of like a rooftop of some kind of chapel or something of that nature. The shingles here on the chapel, I felt that they should have been a different color, maybe like a rustic color, brownish color, some kind of weather color, but no, they are pretty much gray like the smoke effects and the cross here. To me, I felt if you're gonna have the texture or the obvious look of shingles, you should have made them a different color. But the smoke effects are done very well. They do have different subtle shades of blacks, whites, grays throughout, as they should. In addition to it, we have the bats connected to all the smoke effects, and this front bat actually connected to the rooftop itself. The bats themselves are very detailed. We can see that they're very large, screaming with different kinds of poses, whether it be arching, wings up, wings down, or kind of in the middle. There is kind of fur texture on the bats themselves, and also the leather texture on their wings with a little bit of veins kind of detailing the bat's anatomy. Now, I'm not really understanding the reason for it, but I'm not complaining about it either. We do have a little Easter egg with Bishamon right there sticking out in the hole of the chapel rooftop right there. So maybe if you just want to use your imagination, you can think maybe this is a battle where he's coming after Morrigan, kind of busting through the rooftop here and ready to go into battle with her, with her not even knowing or being unsuspectful of his appearance. I love all the details in the cross right here, and I get the sense, the feeling that it is a combination of concrete with metal. Obviously the texture in the concrete is pretty self-explanatory. We have the grays or whatever, but the metal itself, we can see the details right here in the rivets of throughout the cross, little metal fixtures right here that are placed throughout the cross. And if I'm correct, this is just me kind of figuring out our aha moment right now. I think this is actually the cross, or it's probably a reference to the cross that was used in the Darkstalkers anime opening scene when a group of villagers are just trying to kill Dimitri. But if I'm right about that, I'll definitely reference it to show you what I'm talking about.
The dark shall be with us always.
Moving on to Morrigan herself now, she is game accurate. We do see a lot of Morrigan statues that actually have her in kind of a purple attire, but not in this case. She's wearing her actual game attire, which is that kind of pinkish shade of leggings here, with a few bats highlighted on her leggings that are just an off color or a darker color of the actual leggings themselves. Now the lower half of her body, her boots, her leggings, they're all one solid color. So those boots, solid black, and the leggings themselves are the exact same color. I'm not seeing any kind of subtle shadows or shadings, different color variations in those. Her wings are definitely that one solid color as far as the black goes, but definitely have that texture to have them look like leather wings. The design of the wings themselves definitely complement Morrigan as far as the pose goes. They're not flaring out, they do slightly come out, yes, but then they curve in and they actually complement that V-shaped look that Morrigan has as far as her stance goes, as far as the pose goes. Corset right here, the same thing, solid black with the leather texturing in it. And the ruffles right here that go on her corset to her back over her shoulders. Yes, those are separate pieces, very well done. They're not polystone, they are a very sturdy plastic, very bendable, but not unbreakable. And the feathers are the ruffles, whatever you want to refer them to. There are different types of coloring in there, so you do see the whites with subtle shades of grays, a little bit of darks of blues in there, not so much, but definitely just to give it that contrast, that effect of texture as well. The armbands are a lighter pink and they do actually have different shades. Now the big question I get asked about why I chose to get this Morrigan statue, other than the obvious that she is one of my favorite characters, when I already have what's considered the best Morrigan statue out there. When I saw the pictures and actually the prototype, there's two things that really stood out to me. One, it's a 1/3 scale, first of all. And two, it was the portrait that I just gravitated to immediately. If I'm not feeling the portrait, I'm not feeling the statue at all. But the part that makes her portrait really pop and stand out is definitely the hair. We can see is that emerald green, and what I absolutely love is that despite all the solid colors, leggings, the wings, the boots, her corset, etc., that head of hair has multiple different colors, multiple different greens, shades of greens, lights and darks. But I really like the sculpt of her bangs. It really emphasizes the portrait, her face, her eyes especially, which are just a glaring emerald green look. And when you look at that, me personally, when I look at the portrait, it's just like, wow, knockout. Not complaining about it all. Very soft to the eyes, very pretty, and that's who Morrigan is. I mean, that's what a succubus should be. But she has two sets of portrait, one with the slightly open mouth, which is this one right here, and one with the closed mouth. And she also has two sets of bangs. Very, very similar, subtle differences. I allowed my cameraman during the unboxing, go ahead and check that out, to pick the portrait and the bangs. And then she has her wings right here on top. Same as the wings right here. What I forgot to mention is that both sets of wings, the head and the body, have the inner paint job being a purple, different shades of purple. Obviously it's more vibrant right here in the inside of her body wings, where we see purples blended with pinks and just different variations of that. So some gripes and complaints that I have about this statue is, one, as I mentioned in my unboxing, she does not have an art box. It's just a styrofoam box with the straps, the Velcro straps, and that's it. Very disappointed in that. Wish the base was more colorful. Seam lines don't really bother me at all, but that's it, guys. I mean, the rest of the statue, I feel the execution, the pose, the color combination with Morrigan herself, the portrait, definitely the biggest seller for me personally. Overall, love it. Don't have any regrets about getting it. And she'll be going into this empty space right here, right behind me. But those are my overall thoughts about Morrigan here. Let me know what you guys think, so leave your comments down below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. It doesn't cost you a dime, but it helps me out tremendously. And as always, happy Halloween, happy October, happy fall, and as always, collect what makes you happy.